Realtors are line of defense against banker greed, the private sector. This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 120 of The Real Word.
Word is up. Wait, were we supposed to celebrate this one? Did we talk about that? No?
No.
Oh.
I know you want to celebrate as many opportunities for celebrations as possible, but
we need to celebrate something during these times, right?
we're going to celebrate next week, maybe with a New Englandy type of food. Stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned.
Next week. Sam, ask Sam if that's on his calendar. That should be on his calendar.
It's on his calendar. He gave me the thumbs up. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, he's probably assuming that he's going to be getting maybe a portion of the diet as well.
Yeah, that's a super secret teaser. We haven't teased that anywhere except for here on The Real Word. Well, Nicole did on, I guess, a Tim Macy and RETV podcast, but
I did. Well, and the only way that you would know what I was talking about is if you listened to it. I don't know how many people listened to me babble for an hour, but if they did, they'll know what I'm talking about.
I don't know if that was in the beginning or the end, but yeah, if they go back and listen to that, they'll have a little sneak preview of a new show Nicole and I are going to be starting. I think it's going to be a hit too.
I'm just, of course it's going to be a hit. Now that I have my tan back, I mean,
it's all about how many shows you can create right now. You gotta be creating shows if you're in this business. If you are a realtor, you should be thinking about how can I create shows that really emphasize my brand. And we're going to be talking about realtors here in bracket number 1. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? We've got an Inman piece. This is a Brad Inman opinion piece. Brad doesn't write every day or even every week on Inman News. So when he does, they're usually articles you want to jump right into and read. And we're going to take this one on as bracket number 1. Realtors are line of defense against banker greed. The private sector and government leaders must be on guard as trillions of public dollars wash through the economic system, and a broken economy can become a feasting ground for unsavory opportunists. I would agree that we need to be on guard that there are trillions of dollars of fake money, but that's just that's a whole nother story. There's just so much fake money now coming into our economy, and what that's going to do long-term frightens me quite a bit. But Brad gets into really beating up on Wall Street. That's a theme, and I'm not, taking sides here, Brad's right or wrong, whatever, but that's definitely a theme in Brad's articles and in his opinion pieces where he really beats up Wall Street. He talks about, he goes back to the Reagan days, talking about Clinton. Again, we're not taking sides on any of this stuff, but he's talking about, going back 40 years, basically into the 1980s, and some of the scandals and ways that Wall Street have been propped up by our government. And he's saying basically real estate is again now with what we're dealing with is again ripe for bad deeds because of how much Wall Street money is backing companies like a Zillow or an Open Door. Because he really takes the iBuyer angle. And remember, we talked about this, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
Brad is of the mindset, he's of the belief that 50% of the transactions, he predicted at the beginning of the year that it could happen by the end of this year, 50% of the transactions are going to go through iBuyers. If you remember, last time we had and
it's funny because I think we called that a racket. I think we thought that was a really high number, but
yeah, and
we also had no idea that this pandemic was in front of us either. So,
but I think we're going to be right on that because we had a 2-month pause on iBuying completely. So I think we'll be right on that prediction that 50% of the transactions in 2020 will not be iBuyers. But he does make some good points here, and he references all the way back to the mortgage crisis. The last time we were in a real bad economic situation, and people were taken advantage of, and you can read the article. He gets into all of that, and certainly big banks were in control of a lot of these foreclosures. It's interesting. He's taking the angle that iBuyers, Zillow, Open Door could really gain control of the market in a time like this, because before people go into a foreclosure situation, maybe they are just selling directly, if they're in trouble, selling directly off to Zillow and Open Door, and maybe even Redfin gets a shot in this whole thing. Who knows, right? Where they can collect the inventory. And so he goes on to say, realtors are one line of defense, and that realtors must interject themselves in the iBuying equation to ensure sellers are protected from what could be an unseemly partnership. That partnership he's talking about is Zillow and Wall Street, Open Door, and all of this money going into Open Door. The commission dollars may be smaller, but never has the agent's role been more important. During the foreclosure mess 10 years ago, real estate agents played a vital role in helping all parties. And I would agree with that, Nicole, that agents really were critical, navigating buyers through the process of, what it looks like to get a foreclosure, what loans can you use to get a foreclosure? Can you jump ahead of an investor? How do I compete with a cash offer? What work needs to be done before I close on the property? How do I have money left over to actually do the work on the property? So yeah, agents are always going to play a vital role, even as technology kind of shifts who's in control, right? Like it was banks with these foreclosures, and the brokerages that had these foreclosure contracts would be the ones, with the listings, and now it could be Zillow, but it's still going to take somebody, an agent out there working with the people on the ground. Zillow's not going to get out there on the ground floor and work with buyers and sellers, right, Nicole? Like we had
No.
an email last night with an emotional buyer. Like they're not dealing with the emotions.
Right, right. Well, and I think what we've always said is trust, and actually, I started to read some of the comments below too, because Brad seems to be getting quite a reaction from this article too, and Aaron, this guy Aaron Pinkston, I feel like hit the nose on the head, and he said the central problem and solution comes down to one of trust. So, and again, I think we've always said it, building these relationships with the people. I mean, you are boots on the ground here. I do think that we are a huge line of defense. Even if someone is going through a short sale, if there comes a time, not just buying a short sale or not just buying a foreclosure, but helping sellers through the process too of those. I mean, again, I think it does come down to trust. I think you have to make sure that you are building relationships, that you are the go-to, and that you are, equipped with tons of knowledge and information to guide these people. So,
Yeah, if there's
um,
iBuying happening in your market and you're an agent, you need to be putting out content about what that means, what it looks like for sellers who want to maybe sell their property direct and not have to deal with, we talked last week about Open Door with their, you know, direct selling, so that you have contact-free selling environment, especially with what we're dealing with right now. You need to be the one educating and bringing this information to the client. Google should not be bringing information to your local community about iBuyers, because then they're definitely going to click sell, and you're not going to have any opportunity for the conversation. So create that content so buyers and sellers understand the other opportunities in your market. And then you will, to Brad's point, yeah, you might make less money on those deals, but I've been saying that for 7 years. Commission compression, like we already know that is what we're dealing with when you engage with Zillow or any of these companies. The reason why they believe, and Brad believes, that we're heading into a time frame that could be, which when this all happened, Nicole, I was shocked, and maybe they were lying in the weeds there, these iBuyers, Open Door and Zillow. I was shocked that they weren't, when this news broke out, that they weren't, that they were stopping rather the iBuying, the instant offers. But maybe they just wanted to wait a couple months, conserve cash, and pounce as we get closer to the potential of more foreclosures hitting the market. We have a lender friend who actually, Brian Fay, who's been on the Real Word. I think he was our 4th guest ever.
ever.
By the way, Jason Ferris still wants on. We got to get him on. But Brian, who owns New England Home Mortgage, he believes that the 4.1 million forbearance people that have claimed forbearance with their mortgage, that a great percentage of those will end up in foreclosure. That's the approach that Brad's taking here in this article, that because of the amount of forbearance we're dealing with, that's a early indicator that we're going to have a high level of foreclosures. Now, we may not see foreclosures though, and the iBuyers really being able to swoop in before they go into foreclosures until say 2021. I mean, they're talking about a stimulus package, another stimulus package right now that would put $2,000 per person in everybody's pocket for like months on end. I mean, we are living in wacky fake universe right now. So if that happens, maybe people have the ability to push off any type of foreclosure glut that could be
Well, I
coming.
feel like the $2,000, I mean, especially if you're a family, I mean, you're not getting it's certainly not going to your mortgage. That's probably going more to like your food or your essentials
No,
or
Nicole, if you have a family, I mean, look at some of the stimulus packages. The White House, the Nicole White House is looking at 10G. You got, what do you got? 3 kids over there, 10G a month.
well, that'll help.
We might not see Nicole in the real world anymore. Where's Nicole? Hey, can you log in from the Bahamas? Let's
Oh my
go.
gosh,
We're in the
that's never
Keys.
happening. No.
But it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. There definitely is another stimulus package coming, and how that impacts
Well, not just
people's
that
ability to pay
though.
a mortgage.
I think it'll be interesting to see even what happens though in 2021 if there are so many foreclosures. Are there, instead of, because again, these forbearances are mostly, these buyers are having to pay what they sort of deferred at the end of the time frame. So, if you were paying $1,000, you put it off for three, now owe three plus the thousand, so that's four. But it'll be interesting to see, if there are a lot of those, instead of going into foreclosure, will there be another sort of package to save, sort of like bail those folks out too? Or, instead of making it at the end, I feel like it's smart to have
Right.
them just add it to the mortgage,
Right
sort
now,
of
you see
roll
you
it
see
back in.
more support behind people wanting to just give stimulus packages than mortgage relief. So it seems like that's the way, that's the direction they're heading. The only other note I want to make on this in Brad Inman article, and you obviously can get it in the link on YouTube or wherever you're seeing this, at the end, he talks about too much debt suffocates innovation. He really emphasizes, the struggle Realogy has with their brands, the struggle they've had to innovate. Coldwell Banker and Century 21, for example, he references here, their lack of ability and funding because of the high debt that they carry to really be innovative like Zillow has been, because Zillow is cash strong, right? They can continue to create new products. And if you're a broker out there, I mean, I really do agree with Brad that iBuyers are going to be able to pick up incredible market share over this next period of time, however long this lasts. If you're a broker just not trying to compete on that playing field or innovate in a way that's providing a product that people haven't seen before, you could be really left behind in a tough spot. It's one of the reasons I have not, as low as Realogy has gotten, bought in any of their stock, and I've never on any of these shows promoted buying any of their stock. In fact, Nicole, a little update on my Zillow. I sold some of my Zillow last week.
Yeah. Why'd you do that? Did you need to pay some bills?
No, went up to 56 bucks. I was in on the 30s, and I've been telling everybody on the show you can make money off of Zillow. I still feel like they're going down today. But I still feel like there's going to be tremendous opportunities for a company like Zillow because they are cash strong, despite the fact that they have debt. They have high liquidity. And now I'm taking a whole another rant. We'll just end it there. Go buy Zillow stock. It's going to be a great investment long term. All right, racket number 2. We've got Airbnb. Should Airbnb owners sell or should they wait for a rebound? And some agents weigh in from California, Utah, and Florida on this article. Obviously, California, I don't know much about Utah, but I know California and Florida are like prime locations for people grabbing an Airbnb. I've personally grabbed an Airbnb in California and know many people that have done it, certainly in Florida. What do you think, Nicole? The Airbnb, it's something that we've promoted and you've been very passionate about as a great investment for people that want to invest in real estate. Do you think Airbnb owners should sell now? Because property values, certainly, like if you look at, like our location in Connecticut, property values have stayed throughout the last couple months. So you could say, hey, you could go out and get a high value right now, or should you wait for that weekly or monthly or whatever your Airbnb model revenue to come back?
So, I hate to sort of like take like the cheesy way out, but I feel like it really depends on your area.
Well, I
Um,
think that's and your personal situation. I think that's the right answer.
For sure. I mean, because again, I feel like in I can only speak about the Connecticut shoreline. I think that the Airbnbs here have been, wildly successful. Again, our governor is not allowing us any non-essential hotel or stays, so you do have to do long term. But I don't think people are having any problems renting their properties long term right now. So instead of like a per night, it's a per month basis. I mean, I'm getting calls regularly looking for monthly rentals. People that left New York, staying with their parents here in Connecticut, and just can't continue to live that way because now it's been 7 weeks. So I definitely don't think that it's a time for that. And again, I feel like we bring up Tim Macy quite a bit, but I know that Tim has a bunch of
He's getting way too much love lately. I'm,
right. I
I'm
think
putting an end after this episode. No more Tim Macy for the next 120 episodes.
Because he has a bunch of Airbnbs. He's in San Antonio. I do know that his Airbnbs were hit a little bit harder, mostly because it sounds like he gets a lot of families coming in for, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you probably know a little bit better than I do, Byron.
For
Families are
military.
yeah, military. So in his situation, his rentals may be staying empty, and obviously maybe cash flow is a concern, especially if you're talking about having 10 Airbnbs or 15. I mean, that's a huge source of income. So I do think that it's very much largely based on your location. But I guarantee you one thing, after this pandemic, I think there's going to be people that are still going to want to travel, still want to explore, still want to get the fook out of their town, certainly out of their house, where I do think that, much like the housing market, there is going to be some pent up demand for travel. So
I
um,
agree with you. And I also, and I think it's such an individual, you make a great point, such an individual decision because if you're forced right now, because like you brought up Connecticut as an example, right? They have this rule,
31
I guess,
days.
31-day rule. You can't, so if you're in a shoreline community and we're coming up on the summer in Connecticut, a lot of those Airbnbs make money because they're able to rent out weekly. And that's where you really make your money is if you're able to have a great management process of getting weekly income and people in and out. Now, if you can't do that, and you're running out of money or you're tapping into your savings to just be able to make it through this and you have no clear indication like here in Connecticut there's no clear indication of when you would be able to start back up on a weekly, so you have that unknown, you're
Right.
running out of money, and yet here in Connecticut sale prices have, and when we were talking about it with our team with One and Company recently, Nicole, like the sale prices in most of our counties has actually gone up in April. So you're at a peak on sale prices, and we're just
Right.
talking, every local area is gonna be different. You have to dissect it. But yeah, it might make sense to go ahead and do that. But now, if you don't need the money, this is an investment property. You get taxed differently on investment properties. It may not make any sense if you have the money to ride this thing out to go take that big tax hit by selling the property. You may just want to wait because I ultimately agree with you. I think human nature, I do believe that people are still going to vacation. I just believe that strongly. And if you're a proactive Airbnb owner and you can put together a little bit of, a 60-second, a 1 minute, 3 minute video about the sanitization.
I
Did I
just
have it
keep
right the
going.
first
It's
time?
more fun to hear you just figure it out.
How you sanitize your property. If you could do a little video like that, like these are the steps we're taking after and before, people come to our Airbnb. This is what we're doing. This is what we're providing here for you. I think you'd be booked around the clock as long as, the government will let you.
No, I agree. Absolutely agree. I mean, it's like anywhere else, I mean, it's like all the mom and pop shops that want to reopen and all. I mean, I think it's super specific to each person, but I'm excited to travel again. Are you going to be traveling again soon, Byron?
I will be
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
Hmm.
I may have already done a little travel.
You may have. You may
I may
have.
have.
You may have. Your
The
background looks
real
a little different this week.
the real word is a no judgment zone. Okay. So yeah, maybe I have traveled. And you know what? I think everybody should make a decision that works for them and
Absolutely.
their situation. All right. Marketeer of the week. We have a flip or flop star. Tariq?
Tarek.
Tarek. Say it's spelled like Tariq. So
Well, you can
Tarek
call him whatever you like. You
Tarek
do that
El
with everybody else.
Moussa. Tarek El Moussa sells Costa Mesa home for $2.7 million. I love Costa Mesa. I've been there. Beautiful location. The HTV star has sold his 4-bedroom home in an off-market sale for about $130,000 over asking price. Nicole, you sent me an article when Tarek first listed this home. That was during the health crisis.
Did I?
You did. Yeah.
Oh, I thought I sent you an article about how he joined EXP.
Oh. No, I know you. I thought you sent me
Hmm.
one when he listed
Maybe.
this home.
Hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I remember that I seem to remember that this was very recently, and it was on the market during the pandemic. And so the star Flipper Flop, he sold his home 130 over asking price, according to the LA Times. Jason Oppenheim of the Oppenheim Group, along with Heather Ray Young, also of Oppenheim Group, and star of Netflix's Selling Sunset. Have you seen that?
No.
It's
Uh,
also it's also his girlfriend, Tarek's
no.
girlfriend,
No, I
Heather.
haven't seen it. I was following him on Instagram for a little bit, and then he got a little wild. I haven't
He
rejoined
got
since.
wild in which way?
Yeah, I mean, he was being a single gentleman.
Well, he's apparently dating this Heather Ray Young, who is an
Yes,
agent with the Oppenheim Group, and she's on this Netflix series Selling Sunset, which I have not seen or even I don't
I
even know if
haven't
I've heard of
either.
it. She represented the listing, and after this is why. So really, she's the marketeer of the week. Heather Ray Young is the marketeer of the week, not Tarek. Because after alerting just a few local agents about the property, Young told the LA Times the agents brought clients over that same day, and Tarek had 2 offers above the asking price by the following day. So, I got it right, amid this health crisis, his agent, Heather Ray Young, was able to just work her network and get this property sold over $130,000 over asking. Property's beautiful. I love that metal roof.
The whole
I know
thing's
you love those
beautiful.
black windows and the
Yeah, the
black
whole
garage
thing is
doors.
beautiful.
Totally Nicole White style if you follow any of her designs, but really from the outside, maybe not the inside, right? I guess I shouldn't.
No. The inside's beautiful too. I mean,
You like the
he
inside
did he
too.
did a, he did a beautiful job.
He did a great job, and obviously he's somebody that's done a ton of flips and in the design world. But I want to bring up, I mean, great job, Heather Ray Young. Your job is, whether it's your boyfriend or your client or whatever, your job is to get the job done. You did that. But it's interesting, Nicole. I don't know how she technically did it because you have the clear cooperation rule, which has been in effect here for a while. And it sounds like she might have broke that rule.
Well, again, I mean, we were sort of talking about this a little off camera earlier. I think because he's a real estate agent too, and the seller. So I think that rule really sort of more applies to doing best interest in your seller. I'm assuming he probably signed all sorts of disclosures and forms and not wanting to be on MLS. I mean, we also talked about the fact too that it's interesting because I'm wondering if there was ever any intention to sell, but she probably saw a wonderful opportunity because I'm sure, like most areas right now, inventory is so low that again, maybe she was just getting hit up enough with agents asking if she had anything coming on, and she knew that Tarek again maybe wasn't planning to list, or maybe he was planning to list soon, but was able to sort of talk him into selling because he knew the amount of buyers that were out there and the demand. So again, there's so many questions that I want to ask them. I mean, it would be great to get maybe them on. Maybe they'll get on before Jason Ferris just to see, like, was it the
Ooh.
opportunity, or did you want to sell?
Heather Ray Young, I'm going to follow you on Instagram if I'm not already, and we want you on the real word,
right?
Heather.
Like, was Tarek planning to sell? Did he want to sell? Again, was she taking advantage of the situation because she knew that there were tons of buyers out there wanting to?
And low
Again,
inventory and
yeah, I mean, it could have simply been that. I mean, I kept telling my husband, if someone offers us the right price, I mean, the White House may sell too in this environment. But again, I mean, I am reading a few of his Instagram posts here. It does sound like the two of them do want to live together because they currently don't. But again, I mean, I think like you said, I think she did a great job working
she
her
good.
her sphere. She
Great job. She got
you
over
get the right
asking
people.
price.
She clearly communicates very well with other agents, which is so important in this business to know what's coming.
Yeah,
You know,
great point.
what are people looking for so that you can sort of you're kind of like a matchmaker. And she did, obviously did exactly that. So
And
bravo.
I agree with you. I think that when we talked it out, I don't think she broke the clear cooperation rule because Tarek is a licensed either broker or
And
agent or
he's the
whatever the deal
seller. I
is,
think it's
and he's
important
the
to call him
seller.
he's the seller. Yeah.
And so he can say, listen, this is how I want you to go about the sale of my home. Keep it off the MLS. I'll sign the appropriate paperwork. And so not only were they creative in this sale, but they got it done. They got it over asking price. And for that, they are the marketeers of the week. If you've got a marketeer in your market, let us know about it. We'd love to showcase them. And we'd love to have you, Heather Ray Young, on The Real Word.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, if you know Heather, reach out to her. Get her on here. All right, we'll see you guys next week. I think,
That's it.
yeah, I think we'll be past the date when we can maybe even go back to how we used to sit.
Oh, that's the 20th. So, I mean, we'll have to just maybe record another day.
What's the 20th?
That's Wednesday.
Is
We may
Wednesday.
have
Well,
one more
maybe,
day of
yeah, we'll
being
do it a day early. We'll see if they catch us.
right.
See if they catch us next week on The Real Word, guys.
Now,
Keep it
now that we
real.
just told them. Awesome. Bye, guys.